For this tutorial, I'm going to be talking of something called a resonance structure. So a resonance structure is a molecule with more than one Lewis structure. So for example, we have the molecule sulfur dioxide. So it can have more than one Lewis structure. So we're going to draw the Lewis structure for it here. First of all, let's figure out how many electrons we have. So sulfur has 6 electrons. Each oxygen has 6 electrons. So that gives us a total of 18 electrons. Okay, so since there's only one sulfur atom, we're going to put it as a central atom. So we've got a sulfur atom here, we've got an oxygen atom here, and we got an oxygen atom here. Now, if you remember, each one of these bonds right here is 2 electrons. So if we go 18 minus 2 electrons that we've used up here, and 2 electrons that we've used up here, so actually minus total 4 electrons, that equals 14 electrons that we have left over. So if we take these electrons and we put them on the oxygens and the sulfurs, the problem is we're not going to end up with enough. So if we have 14 electrons here, let's say we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this one, so minus 6 electrons for that. So now we've got a total of 8 electrons left over, right? So if we got 8 electrons left, 8 electrons left over, then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. Minus 6, and then we've got 2 electrons right there. So minus 6 electrons equals 2 electrons. We put the 2 electrons on the top right there. Now, if we look at our molecule right here, so this oxygen has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons around it. It's happy. This oxygen has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons around it. It's happy. Now we look at our sulfur. It's not happy. Okay, it's sad because it's got 2, 4, 6, and needs to pick up 2 more. So what's going to happen is one of these oxygens, this one right here, is going to take those 2 electrons and it's going to form a double bond right there. So now we have a double bond, so now everything's happy. If you look, this oxygen, 2, 4, 6, 8, this sulfur's got 2, 4, 6, 8, and this one has 2, 4, 6, 8. So everybody's happy. So that's the Lewis structure for sulfur dioxide. Now, another way that we could draw this is we could take a sulfur and an oxygen here, and we're going to put the double bond on the other side. So now this oxygen has the double bond on it. So here we have 2 molecules with the same chemical formula. They're both SO2s, but they have a different Lewis structure. And that's what we call a resonance structure. So they just have different structures. Let's go ahead and do one more. Let's do sulfur trioxide. So here we have SO3. So we've got an SO3 molecule. So we've got, again, we're going to count electrons. We got sulfur that has 6 electrons. We've got oxygen that has 6 electrons. Okay, another oxygen with 6 electrons, another oxygen with 6 electrons. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6. We got 24 electrons total that we're going to use up. So we're going to start with sulfur as a central atom. We're going to put a sulfur here, and then we're just going to attach some oxygens to it, right? So now we've got 2, 4, 6 bonds that we used up. So we're going to go 24 minus 6 electrons equals 18 electrons. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put, go ahead and put electrons around our oxygens to make them happy. So they've got 2 here, and then we're going to go 2, 4, 6, and 8. We're going to do that to all these oxygens to make them happy. So we've got 6, 6, and 6. That's so that's minus 18 electrons. So minus 18 electrons. All of our electrons are used up. that oxygen's happy, that oxygen's happy, that oxygen's happy. But again, the sulfur is not happy. Sulfur's only got 2, 4, 6. It needs 2 more to be happy. So what it's going to do is these 2 electrons right here, it's going to take those 2 electrons and double bond with the sulfur right there. Okay, so now that's the proper Lewis structure for the sulfur trioxide. That's one way to draw it. Another way to draw it is have a single bond on the oxygen with its valence electrons, put a double bond on the bottom, and it's only got 4 electrons around it. Put a single bond here, and it's like that. Okay, it's got one more resonance structure. So here we can do single bonds and an oxygen with a single bond and those valence electrons around it. And over here, this time the double bond's on that side. So that's what a resonance structure is. All 3 of these are sulfur trioxide, but the double bond is in a different spot on each one of them, and that's what we call a resonance structure.